Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And we're here today to talk about SelectUSA preparation. The event's only 6 or 7 weeks away. We're all getting real excited. Today, we're here with a great friend, Dave Roccio from Lando and Anastasi. And Dave, it's great to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Bill. It's great to be with you. And I can't believe SelectUSA is coming up again.
It's
We're just there.
yeah. So people are calling it the World Cup or the Super Bowl of U.S. market entry, and part of what we want to do, and really why we do these podcasts, is to give companies coming a preview of people and resources that they can meet, and ideally kind of encourage pre-meetings as much as possible. So when they get on campus, you're having sort of second level conversations. In order to do this well, I think if people could understand a little bit about what you're doing, how you help companies coming into the U.S. Really perform well, obviously in intellectual property and so on. But if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what you do to help the companies.
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Bill. So as Bill mentioned, we're an intellectual property boutique law firm. So we really only help our clients protect their intellectual property rights. And what that really means is typically things like copyrights, trademarks, patents, and we help them work with whatever government agency is appropriate to protect those things. And so, a lot of our work, obviously, we're a US-based firm. A lot of it is dealing with US companies. But on the other side, we often help foreign-based companies make sure they have their IP squared away before they come to the US. Intellectual property is a territorial right. So a lot of times these companies have rights in their home countries, but don't have it in the US. So we kind of help them figure that out, what they should be doing, what they should be thinking about, and make sure they don't, step in any potholes or hit any trouble on the way.
That's fantastic. So protecting all their intellectual property could be technology, could be brands, all those types of issues.
Absolutely. And, the big one we work with is on the tech side. So for the SelectUSA, they have the SelectUSA tech segment. So we meet lots of companies there. There's some great startups and they're often always focused on that tech. But like you mentioned, IP includes a lot of other things, and brand, a brand can be just as valuable as anything else if you have a strong brand, right? So how to protect that, you come up with, works of authorship, you come up with music, you write a manual, like how do you protect that to make sure it's at least somewhat difficult for somebody to totally steal what you're doing and, take the value of the time, energy, and money that you put into developing that property right.
Brilliant. And I suppose the future value too.
Exactly.
Part of what, really what you're protecting. Cool. So you've been participating in SelectUSA for years, and some of the companies listening, will have been to the US before. They maybe even have some existing customers and operations here. Others, this will be their first visit to SelectUSA. Why do you go? Why do you find the event itself important?
Sure. So it's interesting. So as you mentioned, I've been going like 4 or 5 years now. So I've kind of got a good feel for it. And when I first attended, I was recommended to me by somebody working in the space and said, oh, there's a lot of good, interesting companies that you should probably meet. They probably need help with their IP. So that's great. So I attended. And one of the most startling things I found was how many of them were completely unaware of IP issues or what they should be thinking about, what they should be doing. So I, over the years have really enjoyed and grown my level of involvement such that I like dealing with these companies and learning what they're doing and really helping educate them on, the things they should be looking for, the mistakes they might make, or, just helping them understand the differences between what happens in the US versus their home country. So, no, obviously I like to meet these people, maybe work with them, but on, at a higher level, I just like meeting these companies, learn what they're doing, and try to help them avoid some of the mistakes we've seen companies make, which can be, fatal with some of these hard deadlines that regulations and laws set out. So.
Yeah, and there have been some changes in intellectual property law too. So, yeah, even being able to anticipate new deadlines and so on, I suppose, is really, really important. So, obviously, part of what we want to do as well is to give companies as many tips and techniques to get as much out of their, not just their visit to SelectUSA, but some this might be their first trip to the US, and maybe how to get more out of the experience of that visit as well, if they can spare a couple extra days or something. But do you have any suggestions for companies in terms of how to get the most out of both, I'd say, SelectUSA and their US visit?
Sure. I think like the first time, I mean, it's a massive conference. It's huge. There's lots of people. So it's very easy to be overwhelmed and not really know where to spend your time, and where you can get the most value out of it. So I think, a couple of things you can really do to help you. One is to, especially if it's not your first time, maybe this is your second or third time and you kind of get a lay of the land a little bit, but really find a way to get involved on a smaller level, right? Either try to get on a panel, try to get become a judge on a tech pitching session. Find a way, because I've hosted virtual workshops and I've done moderating of a pitch session, and just having that little bit of more detailed, more in-depth, intimate touch with people really get more bang for your buck. And also, I think you mentioned it just a second ago, really about really having a game plan, right? And kind of know who's going, identify some of the companies you want to meet with or people you want to meet with. What I found now over the years, I've kind of built connections that I'm revisiting, right? I see the same people every year. It's probably the only time I see them. I get to connect with them. I also have built some clients over the years going that they go every year. So I use that as an opportunity to connect. And the last point you mentioned, Bill, about using it as an opportunity, not just a select, but as a visit to the US. I mean, it's a perfect time to be making those visits, right? Take the extra time, go visit a connection, go visit a client, go visit just a contact. I mean, there's so much more being developed on the face-to-face level. People appreciate it. And I think it's just a great opportunity, especially, people in this space are kind of this mindset right now, around SelectUSA. So it's a great time to do it.
Fantastic. Yeah. So be prepared, leverage the opportunity, and and as you say, get involved as well. Find other ways to participate. I'm gonna summarize. The first point is, how do you make the room smaller, right? Because as you said, it's so large. And so part of the preparation and, sort of getting engaged in some aspect of it, then makes in my head anyway, kind of makes the room a little bit smaller so you can focus in on the people who are most relevant.
You're dead on. And I think another feature of that is, leverage the other groups that you're part of that are attending, right? So the Softland Partners group or other networking groups you're in, if they're going, use those to kind of as a starting point, like you said, shrink the room and use that to kind of build out your network. It's much easier than just kind of trying to meander around and blindly network. So.
Yeah, and so many people are coming as a part of a country delegation or whatever. Yeah, leverage that. Well, this has been great, Dave. What we'll make sure to do is we'll put all your contact info in the description below. So make sure, for those that are coming or interested in learning more about U.S. Copyright and trademark law and how it might affect their market entry, it definitely strongly encourage you reach out to Dave. Thanks, beforehand. So, well, thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.